All right. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Taylor Ann, and right now I am here with Jordan Hansen, the Montana Sportswriter of the Year. Congratulations on your accomplishments, sir, and thank you for joining us.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. I'm excited to do this, and yeah, it came out of the blue and was very exciting. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, you currently work for the Missoulian paper, and you've also worked with the Raleigh Republic and 406 NT Sports. You have quite a lineup there. So we're just going to jump right into some questions for you. So first up, I'm going to ask, how does it feel to be nominated by your peers for this award?
Incredible. It's such an incredible honor, and there's been so many people that I know that from Montana that have received this award, both on the broadcasting side and the writing side, and they're just really talented journalists, talented people, and just to kind of be in that, you know. I don't exactly know how to put it, but just to have that is something that's really cool, especially for me being fairly young. I mean, I'm just 26 and kind of still kind of getting my career kind of going a little bit. So it was really cool, and I think for me personally, I think it was a little bit of a testament to the work that I really tried to put in, and the stories that I've tried to tell in my community, and just working with so many great writers and so many great journalists and so many great people too. And I think that's a lot of what it comes down to too, is building relationships with your community and the people that live in it that really give you the ability to tell some really cool stories. And I guess my cat's making an appearance here too.
That's awesome. Well, so how did you get involved in the sports writing field in the first place?
Oh, that's such a great question, actually. So when I was in high school, like this goes all the way back to my freshman year of high school. My mom was like, Jordan, you should like try something a little bit different. You should, try to get yourself out there a little bit. So there's like an introduction to journalism class, and you take basically, it's not exactly a semester. We had 4 quarters more or less, but so we did that, and it was like this little paper thing. And then if you really liked it, you could do the student newspaper and stuff. It's kind of like an introduction to that a little bit. So I first started doing a little bit of sports writing there. We only published like a couple times a year, but I had a really great opportunity to work with our local newspaper, the Cedar Rapids Gazette back in Iowa, and we just had Mr. Ogden, the sports editor there, John, he allowed high school journalists to kind of have a little bit of an opportunity to write something in the paper and stuff. So I started to do that, and then kind of really fell in love with sports writing. So all throughout college, I worked for the Daily Iowan, the newspaper. So 4 years doing that. And then after that, I took an internship with the Gazette, the very same paper that first kind of gave me an opportunity in high school to write a couple things for them. And after that, I was just one of those things where I just really loved sports writing and really loved the whole again just telling stories and really getting in the community. So then I moved to Montana. I went to Butte for 2.5 years and covering high school and a small NAIA college there. And then I had the opportunity to come over to Montana and cover the Grizz and a whole bunch of high schools out here with 2 very talented staff. Bill Speltz, our sports editor, and Frank Gokla, who is a really great sports writer and stuff. And working with the 406 system too, there's a couple sister papers throughout the state that we got to work with too. So lots of ability to work with some really cool people, some really talented peers, and it's been definitely an adventure. And moving from Iowa to Montana was a big one. But being out here has just been very cool, and I'm very blessed to work, like I said, work with people and just work within the communities that I do.
That's awesome. Well, I had a very similar start in writing and journalism as well, with an intro to journalism class, but I didn't have the same opportunity to write for a local paper. So that's definitely awesome that you were able to do that. So I was wondering, how do you juggle writing for multiple papers at once?
That's another really great question, especially with the 406 thing. So basically, it's just kind of like a statewide site. So if there's a state championship event in Missoula or in Butte or a Kalispell, kind of in this area, we'll have different writers, and sometimes folks, we take a couple writers from one paper, and then usually, if it's because usually boys and girls tournaments and stuff are usually hosted by the same site. So one person will take one, and another person will take another. So it's just really interesting way to, you're not exactly writing for your own paper. You might be doing extra features and stuff, and you might be, talking to some people in your own backyard to get a little bit more for your own paper, but you're also doing stuff for other papers. So it was really fun to be able to do other features and stuff about athletes for the rest of the state too. So it was this very interesting ability to really work with, like I said, just work with the other papers, and to build something. And it was cool too, because I kind of got in pretty early with the 406 thing. So it was really cool to kind of build this whole system and help build a whole system, I should say. There's 16 other people that do a lot of work too. So, but it was really, really cool to have that ability to really work, kind of outside your coverage area, but also inside your coverage area. And it really made you feel like a statewide reporter, that, you really were trying to pay attention to everything that was going on in the state, and obviously localizing certain stories and things, but also trying to work with everybody else and make sure that they have what they need too. So that, I think, was really valuable, because it kind of made me think about things in a broader picture. It wasn't just like, just writing for one thing. I'm writing for everybody else too. And the other, and if we had teams and stuff go to other areas, people would do the same thing for us. So it was very collaborative, which was something that I think that this field almost needs more of. I love collaboration. I love working on stories and things with other journalists in the newsroom, in the system, and even outside too. I've had the opportunity to do some radio stuff and some other stuff with people outside of Lee Enterprises, which I guess would be the our ownership group. So yeah, so very cool about just doing that kind of stuff.
Awesome. So obviously you are very passionate about your position. So I was wondering what your favorite part of it would be.
Really covering the Grizz men's basketball team was a lot of fun. Is a lot of fun. It's a very tight-knit group. And a very passionate fan base, and that was one thing that was really fun, was kind of getting involved in that fan base a little bit, meeting some of the coaches, and really getting to know the coaches and the players really well. But the other side of that too is, I kind of said it, but I really just love this idea of community, and as I move forward in my career and stuff, I really want to kind of stay in, I think, small markets and stuff. I mean, college and NFL and NBA and WNBA and so many different big entities out there that'd be really fun to write about and cover. But for me personally, I've always felt my calling was to work in small communities and tell those stories and really immerse yourself and engage with the community, and that's always kind of been my calling, and just having the opportunity to do that, and again meeting some really wonderful coaches and parents and kids, and getting to know them and having the chance to tell their stories has always been a really big emphasis, and something that I always really wanted to do in my career and make sure that came across. So
that's awesome, and especially that that you want to stay kind of at that smaller market.
Yeah,
like a lot of sports writers aren't as fortunate to kind of recognize that right off the bat, especially as young as you are. I was wondering if you had any tips or secrets of how to improve your writing ability.
Oh, listen. I think that's the biggest thing, is just listen and really, branch outside of just the sports writers in the newsroom and in your system or whatever. I know there's probably a lot of people that are working specifically for sports centric sites, but if you're in a small local newsroom, talk to the city editors. Give yourself the ability to kind of look outside of just the wins and losses. Take a look at what's going on in the school board. Take a look at what's going on in the Board of Regents if you're covering college. I think those things really can improve your writing, because it forces you to take things and think about them a little bit differently, and really getting into that side and truly understanding what's going on outside of just again the wins and losses and soft features and things like that. I found personally for like interviewing and stuff, I found Otter, the transcription service, has been probably a lifesaver. When I was first starting out, trying to transcribe a 45-minute interview took me, an hour and a half. I'm a kind of a slow typer, or at least a slow transcriber. And I found that was something that was really helpful. It's not always perfect, but it's a really intuitive system that you can look back through your stuff, and it makes things a lot easier. But yeah, I guess it boils down to listening. Some transcription software. I swear I'm not a company representative for them, but it feels like it though sometimes. Like I'm always been like, you really should take a look at this. This is pretty nice. I mean, it helps a lot, but that and just always, like for me, I always approach interviews as a conversation. One thing that I always say is that especially if I'm doing kind of a sit down interview, something a little for a bigger story, something I always ask if there's anything that folks are asking me or curious about, and want to ask me. I think that's a great way to kind of build some rapport. And the other thing too, especially during the pandemic and stuff, just calling coaches out of the blue. We had a really nice role. Well, I say Rolodex, it's not quite a Rolodex. It's a Google document that we had all the cell phone numbers and emails and stuff, but just reaching out and just, checking, especially in Montana, we have, some very, very, very rural and small town communities, and just, asking a coach, that's been there for a while, hey, what's going on? Do you have any athletes that you're really excited about? Things like that. That was something that really helped me kind of come up with stories and stuff over the summer, especially when there weren't a lot of sports. But I guess that would really be my advice, and just always be open to criticism too. That's one thing, and challenge yourself as well. Like if you're not a super into video and stuff, trying to do a little bit of that, trying to do something a little bit different. And I think that's that's something that's been really important for me as well, is trying to challenge myself. So
awesome. Great, all great advice. So thank you for that. I was wondering if you had maybe a favorite story from your time as a sports writer so far, anything cool, funny, whatever you want to tell us.
So when I was in Butte, and one thing about Butte is it's an old mining town. It's very, very blue collar and things along those lines. There's also a lot of rodeo folks that end up at Tech. And there was this linebacker named Connor Wines, and he was a saddle bronc guy, which I don't know how familiar the folks of this are with rodeo, but it's riding a bucking horse. And so I found that out, and he was pretty good growing up, but he wanted to be a linebacker, and he was in this very small town. They played 6-man football, which it's almost another sport. It's wild. I know a lot of people are probably familiar with 8-man football, 8-player football, I should say. But six player is another breed. But he was in a small town on the border of Yellowstone National Park. It's a very beautiful area, and I had the chance to go down to his family's ranch, talk with his dad, who's just a genuine Montana cowboy, which was so cool. It was just fun just walking around his property a little bit, their property. And talking with him, and then I went down to their football field, and there was elk poop all over the field. It's kind of a running joke. Saw a couple mountain goats while I was down there too, and that was just a fun story. He's just a very interesting guy. Had dealt with some injuries and stuff. His dad and his coach and Connor had put out like 100 recruiting things, videos and stuff, just very old school, sending DVDs to coaches and stuff. And he had kind of a preferred walk-on offer to Washington State, but he wanted to be a little bit closer to home, so he went to Montana. And it was really funny too, because he was a senior when I wrote the story, and after that, he's a big, bulky guy, very good linebacker. I can't remember if he was an NAI All-American, but he's honorable mention or something along those lines. Very, very talented football player. But it was really funny because afterwards, I saw him downtown a little bit after, and he lost like 30 pounds. He's like, Jordan, I'm trying to get back into rodeo. I got to lose a little bit of this muscle mass and this little bit of weight to get back on the horse. And I haven't checked too recently, but I did know that he was planning to kind of get back in the rodeo circuit a little bit. So just a very cool guy. Got in a nasty snowstorm on driving on the way back. So very, very Montana all the way around for sure.
A very uniquely Montana story for sure.
Exactly.
That's awesome. So we are wrapping up, but I was wondering if you had a final piece of advice or a few pieces of advice for a recent college graduate looking to get into your line of work.
Don't say no to the small jobs. I know that there's a lot of folks that, immediately want to, work for ESPN or, something along those lines. And that's really great because, there's some people that, are very talented and can get into it. But don't always discount the idea of going to somewhere smaller. I think it's, I've talked a little bit about community here, but I think it's so valuable to really, learn, how to do that and to really, embed yourself in a small community and learn how to really, make those relationships. And I think that, building sources and just building, like I said, those relationships is really valuable. And you can definitely do that at bigger jobs and stuff too. And I never want to discount anybody or dissuade anybody from really shooting for the stars, straight out of college. But I personally have found that, there's a lot of value in smaller communities and a lot you can learn from them. And that has really benefited me a lot. And yeah, so I guess maybe I'm just coming from kind of come from a small town background. So maybe that's sort of a little bit of just, me in general, but I really, have found a lot of value in that, and it can take you some really interesting places. I mean, yeah, like straight out of college, I went to Butte, which is this beautiful little old mining town in Montana, and I would have never even probably heard of it if I wouldn't have, kind of taken that leap to move west or to move to a smaller, even smaller town. So yeah, so I guess that would be my advice. Is definitely don't discount the idea of a small market. It can be a lot of fun. It can be very interesting, and like I said, big community guy, so it's fun kind of being around it and just having that a little bit. So
Awesome. Well, I have definitely learned a lot today from you, and it's been awesome to kind of have a young, fresh perspective in some of these interviews. So I really appreciate you taking the time today to come and speak with me and the viewers. But thank you again, and congratulations again.
Yeah, thank you so much. This is really fun, and I'm always glad to do stuff like this. If I can have any small amount of knowledge that can get out there, I'm more than happy to share it. So especially, but yeah, no, thank you so much, and I appreciate it. Like I said, it's been a lot of fun. So
awesome. Thank you again, and thank you so much to everybody who watched.